Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Medvedev came out and said something that I figured it out yesterday when Russia said that they will conduct referendums in two of the territories they already occupied, and they think that's safe to do so. And then immediately after they announced they would conduct those referendums, they said that whomever is going to attack the Russian territory per se, the referendums are to join Russia. Whoever is going to attack that is going to be like a different story or something. And I was thinking, all right, probably you're thinking that that being now Russia and not being the contested or the territories or the independent republics, then who attacks you, you are going to retaliate in a different way than the special operation. Well, it seems like that's exactly what they're thinking. So let's see what Medvedev says. So this article comes from Ukrainska Pravda from September 20th, 2022. Medvedev wants to, quote-unquote, protect occupied Donbas through sham referendums. This means attack on Russia. Dmitry Medvedev, the deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, is convinced of the need to hold sham referendums in the occupied parts of Donbas region and annex them to Russia, as this will allow the invaders to talk about an attack on the Russian Federation if hostilities continue. Quote from Medvedev. After the referendums, are held and the new territories are incorporated into Russia, the geopolitical transformation in the world will become irreversible. Encroachment of the territory of Russia is a crime, the perpetration of which means we can use all our forces of self-defense. So that means that right now they're not using all the forces, since this is a special operation. That's one argument I was making a few days ago already, talking about how come Russia is not advancing anymore or not doing anything to gain its goals, attain its goals. And I was thinking, one, it can't, and that's bad. And the other one is it can't because of the proportionality of forces in Ukraine and Russia. And the second one maybe is just using the least energy or resources possible to accomplish its goals, so it doesn't rock the Russian boat too much, economically, socially, and militarily. Therefore, they will have less losses, but they will gain slower. And all this is going to extend on a longer period of time. Instead of putting more resources in it, have more losses, possibly finish this sooner, but then unrest could be triggered in Russia and he would have internal problems, not only here in Ukraine. So these are the two alternatives I was thinking. Now they seem to say that, hey, this is just a special operation, which we are actually fighting only with two fingers with these guys, and the rest we just not do anything. This is what I get out of this last statements coming from the Russian leadership. Now I don't know if that's true or not. I tend to say yes, and I will make my point by arguing that Russian army is not 200,000 people, as by all intelligence estimates and reports, that's how much, around that amount was the total number of Russian troops involved in this special operation. That means 200,000 people. I will give them 300,000 people, just to make my point even stronger. The Russian military is not 300,000 people. The standing army is about 1 million, the active, and about 2 million with all the cooks, all the drivers, all the everything else. Okay, nurses and whatever is in the military, including the military. So they would be able to put at least 500, at least 600,000 people to fight in Ukraine if they choose to. That because when these guys are telling me, these guys being the American, British, Ukrainian experts and military fantastics, that Russia is depleted of forces, that's an impossibility. It's an impossibility because they didn't fight with all their forces. So I don't know what they're talking about. Unless you tell me the Russians put 1.5 million infantry people fight over there, personnel fighting, and now they're depleting based on the evidence that the front doesn't advance westward. Yes, I would be inclined to say, yes, you got a point. But now, I don't think so. All your estimates are not passing 200,000 fighters that Russia used in the operation. Let's say died 100,000 and they brought one more 100,000, which is 90, they said. So it gets you to the biggest number of 300,000 if I'm very generous. And then it's about 700,000 that just over there and play violin or something. So that's one thing. The other thing is I would like to talk about Medvedev's the statements, which I think, and the other Russian leaders that made the same statements. But let me tell you that yesterday, on September 19, the so-called public chambers of the terrorist LPR and DPR, so Luhansk and Donetsk People's Republic, demanded the immediate launch of a referendum on their recognition as a federal subject of the Russian Federation. So this is why all this happened. Now, let me, how would you call it, refute. Let me refute Medvedev and the Russians' logic. They say, well, right now this is a contested territory, whatever, Donbass, Luhansk, Lugansk, and Donetsk and all those. So we are not really attacked, and our territory is not attacked. So it's not Russia that is attacked. It's just fighting here the special operation. But once we take that, and these guys continue to attack us, then it's a declaration of war, and we can use the entire army, not only the special operation, 200,000 people, I'm guessing, and then we can use all the means necessary to defend ourselves, he said. So that means they're just, right now, as I said, with two fingers they're fighting, poking in the ass, and whatever, okay? This is the counter-argument that I make. What about Crimea? Crimea is Russian Federation, and Crimea was shelled on at least 7 occasions. So how do you call that? Is that an attack on Russia or no? It is, and I'm telling you why. Any country, normal country, I'm not talking about countries that are raped by other countries like Syria, where there are a few countries that do whatever they want over there without being invited and in violation of international law that they like a lot, but they break with impunity whenever it fits their interest. So I'm talking about the United States, which is a normal, fantastic country. So, or Canada. Let's say tomorrow the Chinese, or I don't know, Russia just fires about 50 missiles in 7 attacks on their territory. I don't know, let's say Alaska, in the case of the United States, or Vancouver, let's say Canada. Do you think that Canada will just bring more defensive systems over there, or they will consider that an attack on their country? I think the second option is the one that you will pick. So therefore, Russia is already attacked, and it did not engage what they say they will engage. Maybe they don't want to, maybe they want to scare the enemy and say, okay, now we do this. Once you do something, then we're going to do what? What are you going to do? Bring the 700,000 army personnel and push everything until you get to the Atlantic Ocean, get to Lisbon? Is that what it's going to be? Or are you going to use nuclear weapons? Which one is it? Both? I don't think both work, but one of the two. The second option with boom, boom, that would be, how should I put it, more efficient, right? But the other one, you're going to have a lot of losses and all that. And the NATO is not going to stay over there and just watch you with the binoculars. They're going to be directly involved, and it's going to expand. So I don't know, for them, maybe they're talking about the second option, which is more effective, as I said. Faster, effective, and would stop everybody on their tracks if they do it with 1 or 2 or 3 controlled and say, now, next is coming, stop. And if they continue, probably they will do what they already planned But they will have a justification and say, this is our territory, you have now armies coming over. But this is also the admission that you lost against the counteroffensive, and maybe that was planned. I don't know. Well, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.